Hello, today I'm going to be showing you the weapons at a raised levy, which the king or rulers or lords of the land which are going to war would have just dragged all the farmers off the land, and they would have just had to pick up whatever they had. So most people had a little dagger with them which they're going to use to sort of cut rope or other such objects, or even just for your breakfast and lunch. Normally, what farmers would have would be tools such as this, and maybe a wood cutting axe for the logs for the evening. Of course, these weapons are very good at killing people as well, so you can swing, or even, I'll just get a sword. These have only been had by the really rich and the more professional militaries or mercenaries as such. A good thing with the axe is, if someone strikes down at you, you can block it, wrap your axe around it and throw it away. This is a good way of sort of throwing your opponent off guard, which then if you have another weapon, such as either another axe or a little parrying dagger like this, you throw them off and stab them in the neck. Of course that's good if they're not very armoured, like the levyman. A levyman, a farmer, wouldn't have much money to buy plate armour, leather, chainmail. You'd probably find that scavenged off other battle wars, any dead. If you survive, it's like, I want that. That's pretty much how it went back then. If you're part of the noble family, you'd probably had a sword. And if you were very rich, you might also have some plate armour. Plate armour is very good against stopping swords and blades and stabs, but the way that they got around that is a big sword like this. You can use it to batter, which would have dented the armour, making it quite hard to breathe. Also, some hammers like this, axes, have a little hard bit there. Also very good at battering in plate armour. Chainmail, once again, very good at stopping strikes from a blade, but that also gives a few gaps. Another axe, a bit more, well, not as heavy, but this big sort of shape here. Very good at either wrapping it around people's legs and putting them down to then strike down, or if they've got a shield, grabbing it, throw it down, and once again stab or push up, which at this point here would then go into the chin of the opponent. In war, you don't just have axes, swords, and other weapons like that. The English are also known for another weapon, which you've probably heard of. A big, nice longbow. Back in the day, people would have had, by law, it is said, to have had to train with one of these for a few hours a week, at least. So this one's already strung. This one is probably about £40. The bows that they would pull back then would have been between 100 and more, to say the least. It is also said that the bowmen at the period used to have one stronger arm, which they'd have used to pull back the bow and to fire the arrows in quick succession. We have a couple of arrows here. The broadhead, very good at taking out horse and infantry. Of course, if you get this thing stuck in you, it's not going to be coming out anytime soon. You have the needle bodkin. As you see, a very nice point. If you're wearing armour, chainmail especially, that's not going to help you very much against something like this. Straight for the rings, quite deep into your skin, maybe even deeper, before I go into the shaft. You have a leaf, which is quite a fast flowing arrow. It picks up speed because it's quite light and thin, and once again takes out the enemy infantry running towards you. We also have a standard arrow, which is the most common one, which is probably the easiest to make, and these have been flying probably hundreds at a time, as many archers would be in the back of the battlefield. It's also back in the period, if you're laying siege or getting siege to, sometimes arrows did not have feathers. Because if you're firing 100 into the sky, you don't really want to aim at anyone. You want to aim in that direction. So they've just flown, they won't be as stable, but they'll still, en masse, hopefully have hit your targets. Archers also used to carry a mallet with them, especially if the infantry forces charging at you have horses. They'd have used the mallet to whack giant stakes into the ground to stop any horses charging into them. You can also use a big mallet as a hammer to sort of batter people down. Archers would have worn some armour. The Levy wise would probably have just been the same as kind of what I'm wearing now. Maybe a cap if they are lucky enough to find one, or have one on hand. Now for the armour. We have a few pieces with us again today. We're going to start off with the most common of bits of armour which would have been there at the time, which would be the arming jacket. Take my dagger out so I don't stand myself inside. This would have been used mainly... Where's my arm? There we go. For protection, obviously. Like I said, this is the most common, easiest to find on the battlefield, and pretty much everyone would have worn it. You wear this under plate mail, because plate mail can be quite chafy as such. This will protect you from a few cuts and scrapes, but a big slash from a sword will probably damage you in ways you don't want to be damaged. This can also be worn with chainmail. This will take me a few minutes to get on, so I'm not going to wear it. It's quite heavy. If you fall down in it, you might need a hand getting up. But this will stop most slashes from a large sword. Good. Normally you'll have a long sleeves. This is a short sleeve one. This will be a little bit rarer to find in early medieval times. Later medieval times it became more common to find, as well as plate mail. We don't have any plate mail sadly, but what we do have is some knight plate gauntlets. Make sure I get the right hand. Yes, these are quite protective for the hands. Also, you might see these have a little ridges in. If you're disarmed and you're facing someone, you can sort of sideswipe them, and as you might be able to tell, these might be quite sharp and will take chunks out of your opponent's face or whatever part of the body that you're scratching. They also do that so you can sort of move your fingers. You can get quite a good grip on a sword. Just get my axe here, just to prove. So you can sort of swing it around, but sometimes it does chafe the knuckles. However, when you're in combat, you don't really think about, ow, my knuckles hurt, and more of, oh gosh, I'm going to die and I need to survive. Lastly, another common thing which we have is your helmet. When you're wearing it, it does hinder your both speech and also your hearing. For now, I can just hear myself echoing around this helmet. It does protect you from blows, but once again, you have sort of vital open areas here, which you can get stabbed at, slashed at, and even crushed at if you have a mace or another blunt instrument pounding your head. The plate armour, which I spoke about before, is very rare. You normally find that on the more noble knights, veteran soldiers who have been working a long time in war and surviving. And normally, armour that's been left on the ground after a big fight and war will be plucked up by mostly common folk, so they might have a better chance at surviving at war. That is really hot to wear. Well, thank you for our little introduction here. We have a few, as you've seen, a few things on show, and hopefully more in the future. Thank you for watching.